Hi everyone, my name is Chris, and welcome to my show and tell. If I sound a little funny, it's because I'm just now getting over a cold, so I apologize. And before we get into it, I first want to quickly go over what intersectionality and positionality is. I think a quick summary of each is intersectionality is overlapping forms of discrimination, where positionality is really taking those identities and understanding how they influence the way someone sees the world or sees society. And instead of just grabbing two objects and trying to find the relation between myself and those terms, I rather talk about myself for a minute and then I'll find something to talk about. So what intersectionality does is it takes these different identities and it forms either different modes of discrimination or privilege, sometimes both. And being a gay white man, I definitely lean more towards the privileged side. Yes, I'm gay, but I find myself fitting in more often than not. I don't have too much experience with discrimination, so I don't feel comfortable talking about how I've been discriminated against, because that's just not the case. So instead, we'll talk about privilege, okay? And I'm not gonna lie to you and say that I wake up every morning upset that I'm white, or I regret being white, or anything like that, because that's just not the case. And I don't think that's a healthy mentality. And I don't think that is what needs to happen. And that's the false idea that every white man gets every single time someone mentions the word privilege. It's like someone stabs their ego and they automatically feel as if they should have shame for being white. And this is just not the case. So when it comes to white privilege and myself, the reason I say it's not about being ashamed, it's more so about being white and being able to recognize differences, or to stop oversimplifying language, to constantly seek out different ideas and different viewpoints, and most importantly, just to recognize the privilege. An example is my dad, my small town dad. Every time we talk about privilege, he gets all upset. He's just like, well, I worked hard for what I have. And I'm like, Dad, it's not about that, okay? It's the fact that you were born with something, with being white, that some people weren't born with, that will never have the ability to have. They'll never be able to wake up one day and say, hey, I want to be white. They can't work hard and be white. That's the difference right there, Dad. I love you, but get it together. And there is much more to privilege than just being white, which I'll go into a little bit more on one of my items. But next is positionality. I just want to tell a quick story before I talk about my little objects. But I was actually having a conversation about positionality recently, and I didn't realize at the time it was about positionality. And what had happened was I was going out with a friend, and he was very determined that we go to a straight bar. And I did not want to go, and I told him, I was like, dude, I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel safe. I just don't want to go. And he was like, I don't get it. I go there all the time, like it's a safe bar. I'm like, well, I don't feel comfortable. And he just didn't understand why I felt uncomfortable going there. And I didn't understand how he couldn't get that I didn't feel comfortable. But now that I look at it, it makes sense, because I mean, we both live different lives and we've had different experiences. And there's different social constructions that attribute to the way we see things. And he's not gay, and he never will be gay unless he chooses to do so. But as of right now, he hasn't. So he hasn't just felt the way I felt at straight bars. So it makes sense now. I just wanted to give a little example of positionality on my end. So let's talk about my first object. This is Tigger. I have had him since I was 3 years old. He is a stuffed animal pillow, and he is great. He is, I think, the only item I have with me from my childhood. I moved around a lot. I'm not going to talk about my past a whole bunch. I'm just going to keep it very surface level. But almost everything I had as a child is gone, and this is all I have. And he's been through a lot, if you can't tell. I don't think I've ever washed him. But he's important to me, and I feel like if I don't talk about him, then I'm not doing him right. And just another piece of privilege I do want to talk about is I was the first grandchild, and I was the first great-grandchild. So I had the ability to meet my great-grandparents and grow up with them, which a lot of people just don't have the opportunity to do. And this was actually from my great-grandma, my meemaw. And I'll never forget her, and I still love her to this day. And I just think it's great that she was able to give me something in real life. It wasn't passed down. She gave it to me and I kept it all these years. And I still sleep with it every night. It's probably why I'm breaking out, but that's Tigger. So the next item I want to talk about, I don't actually have with me. It's in my car, and my car is at the shop. It stays in my car, and it's actually so it's a silver necklace with a cross on it. And if anyone's kept up with my posts throughout the class, like, I'm not religious. I've never been religious. I don't know if I'm atheist. I don't even know what I am. I just know, like, I don't practice any religion. I never have. My family has never been religious, okay? So it doesn't make sense for my mom to give me a necklace with a cross, but I know she believes in God. And I'm not against it. So it's been in my car for like 5 years. And it's one of those things where it doesn't offend me. It doesn't hurt me. It actually makes me kind of happy that she put so much value in this necklace. And every time she rides with me, it makes her day when she sees it, even though she knows I'm not religious. And I feel like this relates to our class as well. A little backstory on the necklace to make you guys laugh. She actually got it, and she told me it was like real silver. She gave it to me for, I think, my birthday. And like after 3 days of wearing it, I just started breaking out in all these hives. And I was like, what is going on? And she was like, well, I got it from the pawn shop and they said it was real. And I'm like, Mom, this isn't real. You're killing me. So that's why I hung it in my car. It also makes sense for me not to wear a cross necklace if I'm not like super religious. But yeah, it stays in my car, and it's just a necklace with a cross on it, and it's very dear to me. Not for any religious reason, just for the reason that I love my mom, and I have a great relationship with her, which, again, not a lot of people can say. So I was about to end the video, and I realized there's one more thing that I wanted to mention, that he's not even here for me to show you. That's my dog, Theo, okay? I'll put some pictures in at the end of the video, because he's in daycare right now. I know daycare. If that's not privilege, I don't know what it is, but hey, he's in daycare. I love him so much. He is 4.5 months old right now, and he's a golden doodle, and he's the sweetest thing in the world. And oh my God, he has been so hard to take care for. It completely makes sense now how some kids just can't have pets, and not because like they're bad kids or something, just because having a pet is a lot of responsibility. And this relates to class. I don't think some families or some people have the resources to care for a dog. Yes, I pamper my dog, but like even just food alone is expensive. So I can understand, especially if like a child, for example, I didn't have a pet growing up. We never had a stable household. And I was like, why can't I have a dog? It makes sense now. Wouldn't it be fair to like live out of your car and have a dog, or to not be able to afford food for it? But yes, I'm gonna throw some photos in. He is part of my show and tell. His name is Theo. He's 4.5 months old. He is my pride and joy right now, and he's almost potty trained, so thank all of you for watching.